Hey guys, it's me and welcome to another edition of the vlog. I know this t-shirt's not really an exact match, but I had already been planning on going for a Kira outfit, and then Kira. Okay, so this episode is Oroboros, which now you should all know is when it's the snake eating itself. It's a cool thing to know. Yay. Let's just address Kira leaving. Okay, so now we know it shouldn't have surprised anybody that out of the pack, the one person who couldn't read the book, who was having problems reading the book, was the one person that actually needed to because the dread doctors had come in. So far, everybody else just remembered traumatic stuff, which apparently is what happens if you haven't seen the dread doctors. But if you do, then this is what comes back. And so Kira... Now we also know the mystery of the 115. It was Kira's mental note about what freeway she'd been on when she had seen the dread doctors. It was the kitsune trying to tell everyone. And because clearly the kitsune remembered. So the dread doctors stuck a needle in her eye. She got struck by lightning, which I think, and this is my theory, is that it kind of like supercharged her thunder kitsune. To the point where Kira can't control it. So it's, instead of being like one harmonious thing, you know, Kira and her kitsune, it's Kira and the kitsune. It's not, they're not meshing because it's way beyond what Kira can control. We're finally getting closer to the mystery of why is Parrish taking the bodies? Because now Styles and Lydia are on the case and they know Styles has figured out that it's Parrish who's taking the body, and Lydia's like, I know where he's going. So let's just tackle the other big thing. So we finally met the desert wolf, who was really hot. When I said this, the boy was like, it's Teen Wolf, everybody's hot. So it's kind of a stupid comment to make, but she's really hot. She's also like really evil. There she was kind of interrogating Deaton to try to find out if her daughter was still alive, which is probably a bad thing, and Deaton lied. Because apparently maybe coyotes can't hear lies, or maybe Deaton's just a really good liar. In which case, hopefully the desert wolf bought it, because she said if her daughter was still alive, she'd just have to kill her again. Great. So I don't know what the deal is with that, or why she would want to. I mean, possible theories I can think of is maybe it's like the whole alpha killing their beta thing. You absorb their power kind of a thing. Maybe she just really hated Peter and like wants nothing to do with, no ties to Peter. I don't know. Whatever it is, she's no good. So Deaton went to Russia, apparently. I think it was supposed to be Chernobyl? I don't know. Which really apparently wasn't the site of some nuclear catastrophe, wherever they were at. It wasn't the site of a nuclear catastrophe. It was actually the home base for the dread doctors. As you could tell by the Oroboros on the wall. And they went in and they found their lab, and they found them where they had been, their abandoned lab, where it had been proof that they'd been working on fetuses and then on children and experimenting. And so it kind of makes sense, I guess, that if you're starting with change, you start with the smallest bit of life, like fetuses, because that's where you can do a lot of try to cellular change. So it looks like wherever the dread doctors are in their research, that they've progressed from fetuses to children to teenagers. And part of me thinks that the reason that they're still going for teenagers rather than adults is that there's kind of, I think Derek suggested that teenagers are more likely to accept the bite. If it wasn't actually in the show, it's the current fandom theory that the bite takes better with teenagers, which is why Derek built his pack on with teenagers. It's the one thing where my brain's like, I've read this so much in fanfic that I can't tell if it's true or not. So we're going to go with that. Also, I got to mention Derek, so go me. So the dread doctors, we've learned slightly more about what they're doing. I don't know. I really don't think that we learned anything from the Liam Hayden stuff other than we found another chimera that failed. He had wings. How cool would that have been? You think maybe they were trying to make him an advanced Kanama, because they supposedly had wings. So anyways, there's the dread doctors, but really most of that was to set up the fact that Scott is feeling like he has failed. He feels like there's something that he had missed within himself that has led to the pack fracturing this way. Well, I mean, which is kind of true. One, he started to doubt Kira, and he started to do the thing that he always said he wouldn't do, which is he started to keep secrets. And that is part of the problem with leadership. You do have to kind of weigh your things, whether or not you tell everyone because you don't want to cause panic. But at the same time, the things he's been holding back from people have been things that have been critical. Like the fact that he was going to use Hayden as bait to catch a dread doctor. He really should have told Liam. At least they would have all been on the same page and better prepared. He really shouldn't have been pushing Kira away. I mean, if anything, if he had articulated what he had seen, maybe she could have gone to her mother earlier with this understanding of what was going on. But instead, he didn't tell her. So it waited until something happened, until Kira actually might have killed someone and her father had to take the blame. So really, that part is kind of on Scott. Also, he keeps trying to trust Theo, which he's not listening to Stiles. And this isn't Stiles just being petty. I mean, this is Stiles who really has this feeling that this guy is no good, and he's not listening to him, and he's not noticing the fact that there's something seriously up with Stiles. I mean, Stiles has been so consumed with guilt after Donovan's death, even though, let's face it, that really was self-defense. That it was self-defense and kind of an accident that, and Scott really hasn't noticed. I think the problem, and this is the only problem with Scott, and I'm saying that it's a real mistake. I mean, it's not anything where I'm like, oh, I hate Scott McCall. It's a very real mistake, especially for a teenager. This is a lot of responsibility for one kid. And really, I think the only way that the show is shown is that you have to rely on your friends. You have to rely on your pack. You can't carry everything by yourself. And because of that, Scott's messing up. And I think that the only problem with Scott is that Scott's personality is all-consuming. When he fell in love with Allison, it was everything. Allison was everything, to the point where he ignored Stiles, he ignored other things. And now he's kind of doing the same thing with being Alpha. Alpha is everything. And the pack is everything, to the point where it was kind of pushing his school aside, and now he's trying to figure out what's more important. So it's kind of that whole thing where he needs to find balance. So obviously, I think that this feeling, Scott feeling inadequate, which, by the way, that scene with his mom at the end was just so sweet and wonderful. I love that family. I think that that's going to be kind of the thing, is that Scott's going to need to find his confidence again, his comfort in being Alpha, and moving forward. The sheriff has been really struggling this season with how do you balance your code of ethics? Can you protect the citizens of Beacon Hills and uphold the office of sheriff while having to cover up all these crimes? And so I think that's, Melissa says yes. I think everyone else says yes. He just has to figure out how. Let's take one final moment here to go over all of the things that Lydia had seen that have come true. Okay, so we had seen snippets from Lydia at the beginning of season of flashing back to things that had happened. Well, last episode we saw Stiles getting flipped over. This time we saw Parrish carrying a woman's body, which was this episode. Leading up to the Nematon, which was surrounded by bodies. That was Parrish's thing. We saw Kira leaving, which just happened. We saw the sheriff getting slapped. And then the last thing, we saw Scott lashing out at what appeared to be Liam, but because it was Golden Eyes, it could actually be Theo. So we've seen almost everything we need to see before Lydia checks herself into Aiken. So crazy stuff must be ahead. That's all I'm saying. One final note, and this is just my one criticism, and it's not about the show, but it's about Teen Wolf's social media team. Do you guys really have to be all caps everything? Like, oh my god, I can't handle this episode. Oh my god, this episode is going to change everything. That's a lot of expectations to put on an episode. And when you put everything in all caps, I kind of start tuning it out. I just tone everything. Also, I tend to think that the I voice, as opposed to we or you, Like if you said you are not going to be able to handle this or you aren't going to believe this, I would find that much more professional than, oh my God, I can't handle this. Just say. All right. Well, you guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then you'll be one of the first to find out when I upload these videos and any other videos that I'm working on. You can also find me all over the internet. I have a website. It is whitneydrake.com, where I archive all of these in my blog posts. And I blog regularly too. You can find me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm at Whitney D. I'm on Facebook. I'm Geek Pirate Mom. I'm on Tumblr. I'm Winged Kiari, though that's sometimes not safe for work. I'm on Wattpad. I'm Whitney Drake. I'm on Instagram with the same name, and I'm on Google Plus, and you can find links to that and everything else on my website. It's whitneydrake.com. So I hope you had a great week. Please tell me anything I've missed. I don't want Kira to go, and I want Kira to come back. I hope that when Kira comes back, she's leveled up, she's at peace, you know, and she can come kick some ass and slap some sense into Scott McCall. That's what I want to see. I hope you guys have a good week. I'm interested to see what happens next week. Talk to you guys later.